Welcome back, everybody. Kaduba here after a little hiatus. Big thanks to everyone who has patiently waited for this video. Today I'm going to bring you my newest build. This is the Little Diamond Island Resort, the best vacation destination in the wasteland. The resort is located on the island of Longfellow's cabin, and it is a monster of a build. So definitely be prepared, as this is going to be a super long video. I have so much to show you guys. I will try to add all the times to the different points of interest around the resort in the description, but I definitely highly recommend watching it all. I'm going to start this tour on the north side of the island, at the main building of the resort, and then I'll work my way back to the south side of the island, and I'll stop to show off the gift shop and the bar, and then I'll finish off the video with the 3 cabins. So definitely please feel free to leave me some feedback, and like and or subscribe. Pretty much all of my social media pages are still in their baby stages, so any amount of support right now is so very much appreciated. So anyway, without further ado, let's get to it, starting with the main building. The main building itself acts as a main hotel for the resort, and I had so much fun decorating this main lobby. I used an art mod that I thought was really fitting for this luxurious feel that I was trying to go for. I posted the artist's real life webpage. If you're interested in checking that out, he's definitely got some great pieces on there. I ended up picking out a handful of my favorite paintings from this mod, and I put them up down here in museum fashion in the lobby, and I absolutely love how it ended up turning out. One of my favorite pieces is definitely this painting right here, which is a reimagining of Diamond City. It's just absolutely beautiful, and I love it. Coming in here, this is the bathroom. I made it just a basic bathroom with a couple of stalls, a couple of clean sinks, and there is an area to do the linens. Headed back out into the main lobby. I wanted to show off some of the other paintings I really didn't get to show off as we walked in. I also wanted to kind of take a closer look at the fountain, which ended up taking me probably a good 3 hours to get the way I wanted it to look. I really wish I could have added water to it, but I was kind of limited with what I had, so I ended up settling for the flowers. And I'm actually pretty happy with how that turned out. It's actually ended up being a very beautiful space. Headed down through this hallway, this leads to the pool. I just added a little seating area right here. The infinity pool itself, I knew before I started building this that this is something that I had wanted to do. I absolutely loved the view of the ocean, so I just thought it was absolutely perfect. So this was actually one of the first things I built, and then I wound up building the main hotel building next to it. And it's just absolutely impossible not to do this with the views. And of course the pool is functional and does work. Settlers will swim in it. And that sums up the first floor. Headed on up onto the second floor. This is where the basic main rooms are at. I also have a small little modest gym up here. We know how much the settlers all love their gym equipment in this game, so of course I had to build a little gym to go with it. It is a very modest gym, very simple, couple of weight benches. The rooms themselves, they all have a bed, a dresser, and some decorations. For time restraint purposes, I'm not going to go into each room super in depth. I'll just kind of poke my head in and kind of show you around just to get the general idea. All the rooms on the east side of the building are slightly larger than the basic rooms. They are 2x1 in size, and they all have their own private balconies which overlook the infinity pool and the ocean. It leads to some beautiful views in the morning. At this point, I'd like to point out that the weather is starting to get foggy again. As most of you know, Far Harbor weather is super unpredictable, and it was almost next to impossible to record this footage without it being super rainy or just impossible to see. So even with mods, I use a weather mod. it was still super unpredictable. So I found myself having to stop every once in a while to get the weather to cooperate. Um, Headed back up to the third floor now. This floor is a lot like the second floor. The main difference being that all the rooms on this floor are all the 2x1 size, so they're kind of like the medium economy rooms. Again, I'm not going to go too much into depth with this floor simply because of time restraints, so I'm just going to kind of do a quick walkthrough of all of them, just kind of poke my head in and show you around. I'm sure by now you've noticed that I'm using my favorite auto-closing door for each room. Again, it doesn't lead for a very private hotel, but again, I don't like that the settlers leave the doors open wherever they go, so until they learn to close the doors behind them, they get the auto-closing glass doors. Alright, now headed up to the fourth and final floor. This has 2 rooms, and both rooms are considered suites. One is an executive suite over here, and then on the other side we have the honeymoon suite. I'm going to show you guys the honeymoon suite first. The honeymoon suite is a pretty basic room. I mostly just added a nice little seating area with a fireplace, a 4-poster bed, and candles everywhere to create that nice little romantic mood lighting. I also gave them a little inside balcony out here, and this little separate area sort of overlooks the lobby area. I just thought it'd be a nice little area for some tables and chairs. And that's pretty much it for the honeymoon suite. Now to head on over to the executive suite. The executive suite is about double the size of the honeymoon suite, and it comes with its own little kitchenette and breakfast nook. It has a nice little seating and living area inside with the fireplace. And of course it has its own balcony, and this balcony is obviously double the size of all the other balconies. And I put up a nice little seating area out here, along with some benches, just so the settlers could come in and kind of relax and enjoy the views. Back inside, I've also added an indoor balcony, just like I did with the honeymoon suite. It's just a nice little space that kind of overlooks the lobby with some plants and a table and chairs. The living space is actually kind of cozy, mostly just the fireplace and a couple of chairs. I added some plants and the candles to kind of give it that nice cozy feel. Again, a nice 4-poster bed, and the executive suite has its own clean bathroom, so all the amenities are right there. And at this point, I've noticed that it overlooks Far Harbor perfectly. So not a very private bathroom, but that's okay. A good view, I guess. And that pretty much wraps up the main hotel building here. That's about everything to see in this building. So we're going to go ahead and go back downstairs and go back outside, and we will see the rest of the island. Alright guys, so now that we are back outside, we just got done seeing the main building, and now that the weather is cleared up, it's time that we go see the rest of the island, starting with my personal workshop, which is over here. And as you can see, I just took this little shack that's over here that's already existing, and I just kind of patched up the walls. And I turned that into my own little workshop area. And I've also built a little area here for dog meat. This is my Minuteman character, so he is sporting the Minuteman logo on his doghouse. The shack itself is nothing too fancy. I just kind of put some of the workbenches in here, a nice little bed for myself, and I keep the settlement management software system in here as well too. So just a little area for my character to come and kind of work on her things. Down here in front of it, well, I guess I should say next to the gift shop, we have a nice little seating area, and the settlers all seem to kind of crowd to this location, so I put up just a couple of benches and a nice little fire pit, and they seem to really like it. Before we go over and check out the bar, I wanted to show off Longfellow's gift shop. Yes, you heard that correctly. As everyone knows, when you obtain the settlement, this is Longfellow's cabin. I did not want to relocate him, so I ended up just assigning him to man the gift shop. So he spends his days here. I pretty much just set it up like a typical small little store. I added a spot for seating and the shelves for all the different items. And I did not want to relocate Longfellow, so I added his bed kind of back here so he has his own little space, so he doesn't even really need to leave his cabin.
So much care for good neighbor. That place is nothing but trouble.
Next up, we have the bar, which is Shipwrecked Pub, and that also doubles as the resort restaurant. I took inspiration from that washed up, half-sunken boat that's right on the outside of the settlement bounds, and I decided to build a lighthouse and make the bar lighthouse themed. I tried to keep it pretty simple, pretty modest. I kept everything Far Harbor themed, everything lighthouse themed. I have one woman manning the bar right now, and she also doubles as the chef. And I've given her a couple stoves, a couple fully stocked fridges, everything that she needs to do her job effectively. At the last minute, I also decided to add a bathroom behind the sliding door, and this is meant for the travelers to use. I can imagine that not everyone who comes here is actually patrons of the resort, and I'm sure they're just locals or coming to like visit Shipwrecked, so I thought they should have access to their own facilities. Alright guys, and that pretty much sums up Shipwrecked. So if you're still with me this far, thanks for sticking with me. We still got the cabins to see yet. At this point I've noticed that the weather is getting bad, so I decided I was going to stop and wait for the weather to get better.
Enough to eat.
It's dangerous, okay?
So after a brief wait, now that the weather's a little more acceptable, I can kind of show off the cabins. Heading back down the pathway, I have all of the cabin. There are 3 cabins total, and they're situated off of this kind of central pathway that's kind of naturally here. I didn't want to run electricity out here, so I've used the oil lanterns and things like that. And each cabin has its own little makeshift kind of ramp to get to it. And we're going to start over here with cabin number 1. And you'll notice inside it is kind of dark. There is no electricity in any of the cabins. They do, however, have their own bathroom, so there's that. You'll also notice that the decoration is super simple. I could honestly probably do more with it. In this cabin, if you head out the back door, There is a private beach area where I've set up a nice little wooden platform with some couple of lounge chairs and a couple of umbrellas for the travelers to kind of come out here and hang out and relax. And that is it for cabin number 1. Each of these cabins are very simple in their design. However, I wanted to kind of make it so that each one has its own unique feature. In this case, this cabin had its own private beach. And jumping right in, this is cabin number 2. And this one is located closer to Shipwrecked. And it comes with 2 bedrooms and of course a bathroom and a nice little cozy living space. In this instance, this cabin's unique feature wasn't only just an extra bedroom, but it was also this little seating area out here, which provides a nice view of the eastern side of the island that was absolutely just lovely. And that is pretty much it for cabin number 2. So now we're going to head on over to the third and final cabin, which is the farthest away from the main building. And on the way there, I'd also like to kind of point out that you'll notice that the trees here and the vegetation here may seem a little bit thicker, and that's because I have used a mod to add in a few more trees. I mostly just kind of thickened the trees up to kind of make it so that the cabins were a little more secluded and private. This one especially ended up being probably the most private. Following up this path here, and it leads to the smallest cabin, and this cabin does not have a bathroom like the others. It obviously doesn't have electricity. It's mostly just a bed in a room. It's really meant to be more rustic. Headed back out here is a nice little seating area with a gorgeous view of the south side of the island. And I decided to give this cabin's unique feature to make it kind of a little bit hidden away. So if we follow the path out here, there was a perfect little kind of thicket, and I just sort of thickened up the vegetation around it and added a fire pit, and it ended up making for a really awesome, like, private little area. And that's it. That's everything. I've shown you Little Diamond Island Resort in its entirety. So congratulations to you if you stuck around for this entire video. Please feel free to leave me some feedback, guys. Every bit of support helps right now, even if it's just as simple as a page like or a subscribe. So yeah, big thank you to everyone for watching, and I will see you guys next time.